sextortion. We're talking about a serious crime that occurs when someone gets an image from you, something that compromises you and threatens to distribute your private and sensitive material if you don't provide them more images of a sexual nature, provide sexual favors, or pay them money. If you don't know what it is, you need to, because it's happening across America and it's something everyone needs to know about. But parents, I want you all to pay particular attention, because these relentless and remorseless predators are targeting children as young as, hear this, 5 years old. Yesterday, we met 2 young women who were sextorted for years, starting at 12 years old. Kaylee revealed how she met her abusers. Yes, there were at least 27 men involved in a ring that targeted her online in what she thought was an innocent chat room. We also heard how her best friend Sierra was also targeted by those very same men, but neither one of them knew it. They didn't know it was happening to each other. Take a look at what happened yesterday.
Online scams are nothing new, but more and more scammers are targeting young people.
I was blackmailed, coerced, threatened, sexually harassed.
The FBI said last year it received over 18,000 sextortion-related complaints with losses of over $13 million.
To be like, take off your bra, or I'm gonna send this picture to literally everybody that you know. I did it, and they would record me, and then they would have more footage to blackmail me with.
You got an anonymous message on Skype, right? Saying, I actually hacked into your chat room and recorded you.
Yep. They sent me the recording of me flashing, and they were like, get on webcam with me right now, or I'm gonna send this to literally everybody you know. They would find our addresses. They would send pictures of our houses.
So at that age, you think, these people have been in front of my house.
Oh yeah.
At one point, they wanted you to cut yourself.
That was one of their fetishes, was me hurting myself. And so they would make me go on camera and cut myself. And it became an addiction. I had to get stitches because I hit my artery.
This is happening to people that she was best friends with, and none of them mentioned it to each other even. These kids were so scared of these guys that they did not even tell each other.
Kaylee was hanging out with her friend Sierra. What Kaylee didn't know at the time was that Sierra would soon become their victim as well.
I got close to one particular guy, and what he said would change my life. He said, here's your mom, your dad, here's where they work, here's your sister, where she goes to school, here's your front door, and here's videos I took without your permission. And he said, if you do not do what I say, I will hurt you, I will hurt your family, and I will ruin your life.
At some point I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I want to die. And he was like, do it. Like, let me watch, like that'd be hot.
What were you saying to yourself alone in your room?
How could this have happened to me? How could I have been so stupid to let this happen to me?
Sergeant Sean Pierce, commander of the Silicon Valley Internet Crimes. These are sick and demented people, but they're really good at manipulating children, correct?
Most kids live their life on the internet, and all they're doing is feeding this information to predators.
What's happening to these images that they get?
It's not about sex. They're using the sex photo or the image to gain money.
Parents, this is a wake-up call. A call to pull your heads out of the sand, because tragically, in some of these cases, the results are fatal. Today, we're continuing this important conversation because sadly, it's not only girls who are being targeted. Boys are as well, and the number of boys being preyed upon is on the rise. Take a look.
The FBI is reporting a huge increase in sextortion scams targeting teens especially boys ages 14 to 17. It can start with flirting online, then a request to share or exchange revealing images, eventually turning to threats to share those images. A former investigator with Internet Crimes Against Children says they're seeing an evolution in the past 4 to 6 months of sextortion for financial reasons, not sexual reasons. There are a few recent reports of teens who died by suicide after being victims of sextortion. Child safety advocates say this is serious.
Mary and Darren say their son was murdered by a sextortionist when he took his own life at the age of 15. They say Riley must have believed death by suicide was his only way out.
This family is mourning the death of their teenage son who killed himself after he got caught up in a sextortion plot, all after sharing a photo.
All right, guys, we're out here.
Riley Bassford was a typical 15-year-old who loved the outdoors. Last month, he joined Facebook. On the day he signed up, he got a friend request which appeared to come from an attractive young college student who said her name was Megan. She wooed Riley into sending her explicit photos of himself.
But it was all a fake. Megan did not exist. The teenager was being catfished. What followed was a barrage of messages demanding $3,500, or else his photos would be posted all over social media for all the world to see.
The blackmail threats started at noon. Just 2 hours later, Riley, apparently overwhelmed with embarrassment, went up to his room and shot himself to death.
It breaks my heart that I lost him. Absolutely, like waking up without him is brutal.
Well, Mary is here joining us, and Darren is joining us virtually, Riley's father, and Mary's ex-husband. Darren, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Mary, thank you for being here. To both of you, I am so sorry for your loss. There just aren't words to describe. You certainly won't hear me say I know how you feel, because if you haven't been through this, you just can't possibly. Mary, you feel like this sextortionist murdered your son, Riley.
I do. I really do. Riley, it happened so quickly. I think it is important that we encourage parents to be checking up on their children. What happened to Riley happened so fast. If we were checking his phone that evening, we didn't have time. He did this in 2 hours, and Riley, the total time was 6 hours. But Riley was pretty typical 15-year-old, very impulsive. A lot of the things that made Riley so wonderful. He was the life of the party, everybody's friend. We've heard so many stories from his friends that you wouldn't know until something like this happens to your child. One boy told me that he had been in rehab. I had no idea. And that when he got back to school, Riley was the only person who said, "I'm so proud of you." And he really did care about other people and was a good friend, a good son, but he was so afraid. Thank you. He was so tortured by what had happened. He just wasn't thinking clearly.
The perpetrator sent about 50 messages in less than an hour?
Yes, the attackers immediately hounded him for $3,500.
Both of you had a very open relationship with him, right? He talked to you about things. This was not a closed-off, depressed child.
Not at all. Not at all. He talked to us about everything. He was a happy 15-year-old boy. And when this happened, I think it just like fried his brain. Because after he did send the photo, the attackers immediately hounded him for $3,500. He told him that I didn't have it, and they just like barraged him with numerous messages. So I think he just lost his mind.
Now, this happened on March 30th, and he got he got a message that he thought was from a girl. And this was a perp posing as a girl, Megan. So he thought he was just talking to someone that he had just met and that they were just having fun and going back and forth. And she got Riley to send a photo. And then this whole episode between the two of them happened within, as you say, just a matter of hours. And they demanded this money. He says he doesn't have it. And so they were just all over it, just full court press, just bang, 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 bang. And at that point, he obviously wasn't thinking. He panicked and thought, no way out. Darren, do you think if he had called you and said, oh my God, let me tell you what happened, and you had had even 5 minutes to talk to him, do you think this could have been averted?
Yes, I do.
She, the perpetrator posing as this Megan, sent about, what, 50 messages in less than an hour?
Yes, that's what was told by the troopers. And he even told them that I didn't have the money. He offered a little bit of the money, saying, I have $250 I'll send you. They go, no, we want it all. And then they continued to like escalate the threats. I didn't see any of the messages, but the troopers, explained to me that the threats were just kept elevating and elevating and elevating and wanting the money.
Wow.
Another thing that Megan did was friended 14 children in Riley's friend group. So as soon as one kid accepted the friend request, then Riley had mutual friends to her. He thinks, oh, I must know her. She must just be a girl from another town. And it appears innocent as soon as they lure a group.
Oh, of course.
Right.
But something else happened simultaneously. Look who's going to see this.
Right.
It's not just the world, it's relevant world.
Right.
So it gets very pertinent right quick.
What we found out, so we knew Riley had died about 2:30 when his little sister got home from school and found him. And I just left him at 11:30 at his dad's house. We hadn't gone to school that day because he got his braces on, and I took him for a milkshake because his teeth hurt and took him back to his dad's, like our normal schedule. It happened so quickly. And we of course weren't sleeping, couldn't understand. I can't even begin to tell you what those days were like. But then in the middle of the night, Darren found something in his own Facebook Messenger that kind of went into someone who's not your friend file, and quickly realized that they had messaged a photo of Riley's face to everyone with the same last name as Riley. So I didn't get it because I don't have the same last name as Riley. And then Darren immediately shared that with the police, and they already had Riley's phone. Everything that happened to Riley happened through apps on his phone. Then we thought Megan was real. So in the middle of the night, we're calling our state trooper investigator saying, it's this girl, it's this girl. So we really thought, oh, they can get her. We're giving, look, here's her name, here's her face, to only find out within a short time that was a completely fake account.
Right.
And so, yeah, they just scared him so badly.
So, Darren, where is this perp, do you believe?
I was told that they are in South Africa.
West Africa, right, Darren?
West Africa, yes.
West Africa.
West Africa. All right, next, we're going to add a mother who says it was a matter of hours between her son meeting his blackmailer, them targeting him sending a picture, and the unthinkable happening. This is another story you have to hear. Parents, don't turn away. This can be life-saving. We'll be right back.
They sent a picture first and says, oh, now that you have one of us, send us one in return. He truly believed he was talking to a girl.
A community mourns the life of a high school senior who died by suicide last week.
He's also believed to be a victim of blackmail through social media.
17-year-old Jordan DeMay took his own life at his home last Friday morning. It's called sextortion. The perpetrator blackmails the victim into sending money by threatening to send the photos to family, friends, and social media contacts. Jordan tried to avoid the exploitation.
Money is sent, and there's agreement that they will erase all the photos and all the information, but it doesn't happen.
Hours after his death, Zybert says a friend of Jordan's received one of the compromising photos. The friend contacted Jordan's parents. However, the 17-year-old's life had already come to a tragic end.
Well, that was yet another tragic story about a young man who felt he had no other option but to take his own life after being sextorted. Now, today we're having a conversation that every parent in America needs to hear because it could save your child's life. We just met Mary and ex-husband Darren, whose son Riley took his own life last year after being targeted by a sextortionist. Tragically, Mary and Darren, they're just not alone. And children across the country are being targeted and left feeling like they have no way out. Pauline is sadly another parent. She says her son passed away by suicide at age 17 after being sextorted. She says it was 8 hours from the moment Ryan was manipulated into sending his blackmailer a photograph to when he took his own life.
This year, I lost my older son, Ryan Last, to the sextortion crime. Ryan was a senior at Ann Sobrato High School. He was a straight-A student, a second-degree black belt, and an FFA chapter secretary. Ryan was working on his Eagle Scout project for Boy Scouts, and he was planning on attending Washington State University to study agricultural biotechnology. Ryan was our world, and I want to make sure that I do everything I can to protect other kids and families. I want to do everything in my power to stop this and make sure that no other family suffers the devastating event that happened to us.
Well, Pauline, again, so sorry for your loss.
Thank you.
What a fine-looking young man. I mean, both of you, these are vibrant, alive, fine-looking young men. And this was 8 hours, you say, start to finish.
Start to finish, but at the beginning, they spent a couple hours actually befriending him. It started roughly at 6 p.m. He was still happy. No, you could tell no difference, because Ryan, you could read like a book. You could tell when he was upset, you could tell. But by 2 o'clock in the morning, they had put so much pressure on him. But I want you to know, they pretended to be a girl. They sent a picture first to him and says, oh, now that you have one of us, send us one in return. So my kid was a loving, trusting child. He believed them, so he sent one. Within minutes of them getting the picture, they demanded $5,000 from him. He didn't have it, and eventually he did send them $150. But then as soon as they got money, the pressure continued because they knew that there was a source of money.
You know, they got something, so they thought, okay.
So I can continue, because if you give me a little, you might give me more. And that's what he did. And he truly believed what they were telling him until they started blackmailing him.
And how would you describe his personality?
He was outgoing, loving, but the thing that got him, he was a trusting child. He truly believed he was talking to a girl that was interested in him. Oh, you have nice posts, you this. They built it made him feel comfortable before they moved on to him.
And Darren, how would you describe Riley's personality?
Outgoing, friendly, enjoy life, live the life with zest.
The reason I'm asking that is because I want to point out that these were not withdrawn, no friends, that can be preyed upon, but this can happen to anyone.
That's one of the things I want to know. We had parental controls on our kids' things. We were involved. We looked at something. We saw what he was on, but it happened so quickly. There, we did loosen some restrictions because as of COVID, there were things that he had to do for school on his computer. We had things that turned off at certain times, but we gave him more freedom with school, with apps that he might use for school. And it happened at 10 p.m. He was happy. There was no signs. And when he went to bed at 10 p.m., he was fine.
Ryan truly thought there was no way out of those pictures being sent.
In his note, he apologized because he fell for their trap.
Also joining us is Sergeant Sean Pierce, commander of the Silicon Valley Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Not new at this. He's worked there 9 years as a detective and then as a commander for the past 4 years. With Sergeant Pierce is Angeli Donzanti, crime and intelligence analyst for the San Jose Police Department Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. And I'm so glad that they're joining us again because you have so much in the trenches knowledge about these crimes and how they unfold. And I was asking these parents about their kids because I want parents to know. I don't want them thinking, oh, my kid is popular and outgoing and inoculated to this. This happens to all kids, right? They're all vulnerable to this. It happens to them all.
It does. We are not seeing any sort of pattern on who is being victimized. They're young, they're boys. Like Pauline said, someone reaches out. I mean, there's a reason that they're using female personas to talk to these boys because the boys think, hey, this good-looking girl here, she's interested in me. They start chatting, but we're not seeing any pattern whatsoever on who's vulnerable and who's not. I mean, we live in this new technology world. And it's going way faster than we are. And we're having a hard time catching up, even for adults. I mean, I work these cases and we're always behind. And I can't imagine with, young boys, young girls, what they feel like when they get into one of these situations. Like both these young ladies here, it was very, very quick. I think we're both about the same time because it's about the money. And as soon as, and you mentioned, as soon as the money has sent, it doesn't stop because now they have a money source. Now they're going to start going for more money and more money and more money.
Yeah. And Angeli, talk about this. I've shown you mine, now you show me yours, because they do have pictures or video of other victims, and so they can pretend to be that person, and then they show, okay, here's a video or picture of me. I've shown you mine, now you show me yours.
Absolutely. It's so easy to do that and just give off this new persona or create, in other cases, 22 different personas of just, I'm just another kid. Let's just chat and create that social connection. Just by them having other photos of other explicit photos of young females will then provide them the tools necessary to just continue these acts. And
because I can tell you, if you're a young guy and you think a young girl is really interested in you and they're attractive and they send you an explicit picture or photo of them, then you kind of feel like a pansy. If you, it's sort of like, well, it's okay with her, but it's not okay with me.
And that's why they target the kids at the ages they do.
Of course.
Because there are hormones involved in it, and They're young boys.
Ryan truly thought there was no way out of those pictures being sent. He was absolutely terrified.
He was terrified. In his note, he apologized for not being smart enough to know that someone was taking advantage. Here is my straight A student who was led to believe he wasn't smart enough because he fell for their trap. And he honestly did not think there was any option because he thought he was bringing shame onto his family by his actions. And what I want people to know, and let your children know, it is a mistake. We can get past any mistake your child can make. It's a mistake. We will help you. Make sure your kids know they can come to you. And I have a good friend from Ryan's Boy Scouts that it's a dad, and he has told other kids, if you for some reason don't think you can come to your mom and dad, you can come to me. Have your children be comfortable to talk to you. Hopefully you want them to come to you, but if they're not, some other adult that can help them, because a mistake is easy to fix. You're there for your kids.
Feeling alone at that age, it could just be so horrible. Look, next, after the death of Pauline's son, Ryan, she teamed up with Angeli, who runs the Parent Initiative Program in San Jose. We're going to talk about what that's all about after the break. Parents ask me a lot about how much privacy they should give their children on the internet versus how much monitoring they should do, how much checking they should do.
In Angeli's program that she'll talk about, the first question we asked of the people that are in attendance is how many know the password to your child's device? And it's astonishing of how many people do not know the password. And this program is intended for parents of younger kids. So we're talking 10, 11, 12-year-old kids, and they have their phone locked. But it's a fine line because kids communicate on apps. They don't text like we do because people are going to see that. So they communicate on apps. So it's a fine line because if you take the devices completely away, then how is your child going to communicate with his friends? Then is he going to be ostracized from his friends because he doesn't have a device or he doesn't have WhatsApp? So I think the biggest message is to have that talk that your child knows that they can come to you if anything happens. I'm sure if any of these kids would have came to their parents, it would have stopped and that wouldn't have happened because the parents would have stepped in. Mm-hmm. Right after Ryan passed, we did a Vigilant Parent initiative on Zoom, and we had 1,100 parents on the Zoom call. And about a month later, a mother called me. She had been on the Zoom call. She told her son about it, talked to him about it with a dad, and he still fell victim to it, but he went straight to his mom. They called the police right away. So I think the biggest message is having the talk with your child. If you're going to give them a device, have the talk with them, and then notice the signs. If you start seeing signs when they're online.
And just let them know you can never be ashamed of your child. Just let them know. Now, you two have talked and coalesced, right? What's this been about?
Yeah, so the Vigilant Parent Initiative program was created about 2 to 3 years ago by our former commander, Captain Brian Spears at the time. And then with that, it's led to this huge outreach and trying to just get that message to parents about being digitally responsible, teaching your kids to be safe online when they have those devices or access to a social media application. As time moved forward, in Ryan's case and Pauline's, she wanted to become an active participant to tell her story. And since then, we've been working together to get that message out to every parent that we reach in San Jose in our local area.
Yeah, that's so great. And listen, you don't have to look far to find people that have been victimized by this, and to warn people ahead of time. I mean, it's could well save this kid's life that you're talking about. We'll be right back. Well, we're back, and we've been talking about a very serious scam on the internet. And look, this is a scam. And what I've said is this is a cautionary tale. I can't thank the two of you enough, and Darren, for coming here today and sharing your story. I know this is painful, but you've honored your sons in coming here and talking about who they were, because that's what they want to be remembered for, is who they were, not that particular moment. And you're using their lives to protect others, and that's painful but well worth it. And Darren, I thank you for sharing about this situation. Obviously, you guys had great relationships with your sons, and they got caught up in a panic moment. And that's why I say, you know, I think old sayings get to be old sayings because they're profound. Like an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And that's why I say this is a cautionary tale. Talk to your kids about this. Let them know if they get sucked in, they're dealing with pros. These are people that are really good at this. They've done it a million times. They've got the pictures, they've got the story, they've got the spreadsheets, they've got the homework done. And caution them to not get sucked in, and that when they send a picture or a video on the internet, it's out there forever, so don't do it. And if they make a snap decision and do so, and it turns around to bite them, let them know, you know, it happens. There's nothing you can do to make me ashamed of you. I've got two boys, they're both grown now, and there's not 1 second of 1 minute in all the years they were growing up or now that we've ever been ashamed of them 1 second. Just haven't. And you've got to let your kids know they can come to you with anything, and talk to them about this specifically. Talk to them about this specifically because it's growing, and these are pros. Have that conversation ahead of time. Let them know that these scammers are out there, and say, if you get stung, just tell me. We'll help you get out of it. And don't be afraid to come to your mother if you send a picture. Hell, I've seen you since you were born. It's not, you're not going to shock us. So just pay attention to it. And thank you guys for the work you're doing, because there's been a lot of years where people would go and there was nowhere to go. There was no cyber crimes. There was nothing like that. But there is now, and you guys work on these things and give parents a place to go. And thank you for the educational work you're doing with this. 1,100 parents makes a difference. Coming up, we'll meet a wife who doesn't mind her husband controlling the TV remote. Really? Can't wait to hear this explanation. We'll be right back.